Thank God, after that finale, that you, Fusco, did not know about the machine.
I know, right?
I wasn't privy to that. Otherwise, you would have been laying on the
That's what I keep telling him.
That's it.
Thank God.
Keep me in the dark. They keep me in the dark to keep me around.
13 episodes. What are the plans for those 13 episodes?
Straight chaser, no filler. We got to go full throttle out of the gate. You know, we had some projections and ideas where we wanted certain story points to land, and big things that we wanted to. You know, when eventually this series would wind up, we're pulling up some of those things now, and we feel like every season finale on the show could be a series finale. And my brother called me after the finale last year. He said, "Why don't you guys just cut it right there?" And I went, "You know, it was kind of amazing. We could." And Michael said this earlier today. I agree. I always like open-ended endings to a degree, but there's a couple of big moves we still have to make, and obviously the reconstitution of the machine and how we're going to combat Samaritan is a big one.
And is this the season where Fusco comes to find out what the machine is?
We hope.
If Samaritan's still out there, I don't think that'd be cool.
I think in season 5, I think Fusco is going to start asking the hard question. I think he knows there's something up, but he's really not quite sure what it is. You know, if you recall that scene in the hospital room where Root was interrogating Mr. Finch was having a conversation on the phone that Fusco was sending when he was talking and referencing the machine. And I think it was there where Fusco kind of raised his curiosity about, you know, what is this machine you keep hearing about.
Yeah, I think also Fusco. You know, some people ask me, "Did Fusco shoot Dominic?" No.
Yeah.
There was a sniper on a roof that took him out and took out Elias. And I think Fusco, being the arresting officer, those two kingpins, just lost both of them. And now there's going to be some questions. There's going to be a federal investigation. There's going to be an internal affairs investigation of what went down. And he's going to find himself in the hot seat. And, you know, there's no secret we've all been a big fan of 70s paranoid thrillers, and Parallax View is a great one. I think Fusco finds himself almost caught in a situation where he feels like, is there something else out there that I don't know of? Is there something else going on that's pulling strings? And he's going to start to look into it in the premiere. We think this is definitely the season where Fusco gets ready.
So how long is it going to be before he gets in trouble? I mean, that's like...
You know, this is the difficult part, is that if he acts upon it in any way, his life could be in danger. And this is something that John Reese has to convey to him in a way that he's going to be okay with, or that how far is he willing to pursue these things before it becomes a jeopardy to his life?
Well, he could become a target at one point, or he could become a liability at the other point. So it's, you know, it's kind of walking the fine line between the two.
Is he still going to be paired up with Detective Riley going in there, or?
Is Detective Riley alive? That's my question.
Well, assume.
It's going to be a little rocky out of the gate, but you know, the question becomes whether our guys' covers have held up. That's as much as I can say.
Okay. Well, what kind of like, I mean, with the lean and mean season, kind of, you know, just be direct. I mean, are there any like emotional beats like planned? You know what I mean? More character-driven type of things.
What's that? The feels.
Do you watch our show?
Well, you know, I just got to talk to Jim about the Taraji episode, because I mean that, you know, something like that, you know, and I thought that was amazing. So
really, really amazing performances, and you know, Kevin's done some amazing stuff on our show as well. I think I was blown away by Michael's interaction with the machine in the finale, just his ability to convey the humanity of a screen was pretty incredible. I think we definitely have more of these moments, and what we're going to see emerging with all our guys in their desperation to reconstitute the machine, there's going to be a number of arguments about what that should entail, what the machine would even look like if they could get it back up and running.
And speaking of the decision of essentially bringing back the machine to its core, literally in a suitcase, what is the theme for the machine in the next season?
Well, you know, Harold crippled his machine when he built it. He had it erase its memory at midnight initially. He showed a lack of faith in his own machine. He never conceived of it as a human entity. It was always just a machine. And I think what was different for him in the finale was he was suddenly confronted with its extinction, and how he was suddenly realizing how much he didn't want to live in a world without him. And I think going forward, that's going to become imperative as to, you know, when you send your kid off to school and he gets a black eye, you know, his machine got his butt kicked. At a certain point, you gotta teach to fight back. And I definitely think, to answer for your question further, we're gonna see the reemergence of Shaw.
Perfect.
Yay! We're done. No. Just kidding.
One of my favorite aspects of the show is the use of music, and not only the cuts that are picked, but the way that they're being used. So I gotta ask, how long have you guys been sitting on that Pink Floyd tune?
Yeah, that one, when Joe and I initially talked about it was going to be for the finale, but you know, we suddenly realized, like, oh, this is the moment. Like, this is the moment when we spring it. Definitely, it has to pass the chill test, right? So if you don't get goosebumps, then we don't use it. So never use a song unless we get a little bit of a chill. And I think that was a great usage of it.
Johnny Cash rendition of Paradise from my favorite.
That's the best.
Yeah.
And I think Revenge and Many Happy Returns, that was like the first music cue for your show that I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And, you know, I used to run a show called Cold Case where we had like 5-6 songs an episode. We'd take you back to the year, and that was the rule, is that it had to be the same year as the flashback. And we had a music supervisor on the show, and I used to get in arguments all the time with the music supervisor, like, I don't like that song. Wait, no, get me something better. And then when Joan and I, you know, we started doing this show, I was like, we're picking the song.
Which song was that cut me out of the ending of the Taraji episode?
And is there going to be any of another episode seen from the perspective of the machine again?
Definitely. Right. Very early on.
I'm going to steal your question from last time. Is there anything you want to say to the fans, you know, before the next season starts?
What I like to say to fans is take the fall, catch up on the show, any episodes you haven't seen, and bone up, because once we come out of the gate, you're not going to want to miss one of these 13 episodes. Trust me.
Thanks so much,
Thank
guys.
you.
I'd like to say thank you to our fans, because we've had the most loyal fan base of anything I've ever worked on. So I'd like to say thank you to them, first of all. And I feel that season 5 is going to be off the chart.